I've already made samples in Audacity and I want to import them into Logic. I open my browser area, select Project, go to the Audio File menu and choose Add Audio File. I can preview my audio files, change timbre, but I know I want all of them, so I can select the first audio file, shift-click the last one, and click Add All. Now I have 5 audio files. I click Done, and my 5 files appear in my browser area. I can select a file and drag it onto a track. If I want to see the whole name of a file, I can adjust my view. Then I can select a file and drag it onto the track. Notice I can drag more than one copy of the file onto my track area. Change pitch. Change pitch. I can also trim my audio by hovering over the bottom edge until my cursor changes and then dragging. But notice that both instances of the region change. You need to create a second region from the original audio file if you want to make changes to a single instance of the region. In the browser area, select the audio file you wish to duplicate, go to the Audio File menu and select Add Region. Notice now there's a region called Change Pitches.1. If I delete Change Pitches from track 2 by selecting it and clicking the Delete key, I can drag Change Pitches 1 into track 2. Then I can edit Change Pitches 1 without affecting Change Pitches. Let's say I want to insert silence between the words like I did in Audacity. In Logic, this is called splitting the region. You need to select the region you want to split, put the playhead in position, and then go to the Track Edit menu, select the Split submenu, and choose Regions at Playhead. Notice this creates a new region called Change Pitches 3, and it's independent from the other regions. I can move them apart, and I can even extend Change Pitches 3 back to its original length. This kind of editing is called non-destructive editing, and it's very powerful. Now that I've shown you basic editing, let's change the pitch. I can do this destructively or non-destructively. Let me show you the destructive way first. Double-click on your region name. This opens the Track and File region. Select File, then Functions, Time and Pitch Machine. At the bottom of this window is a transposition editor. 100 steps is a half step, and there are 12 steps in an octave, so this number needs to be fairly large in order to hear it. Let's go down an octave by setting transposition to -1200. I can pre-listen to see if I like it.
Change pitch.
I then hit Process and Paste and close the window. I can hide the Track and File region by clicking on the top of it and sliding it down. Then I press play.
Change pitch. Change pitch.
Wait, what happened? I only changed one region, but the other changed as well. This is called destructive editing because I'm actually changing the original reference file. Anytime you double-click a region in order to edit, you're in destructive mode. It's useful. This is the only way to reverse a file, for example, and it's very powerful, but you have to be aware that you're changing the original file. My rule is right-click before you double-click. Right-click or control-click, then convert and convert to new audio files. Give this file a descriptive name. I often append letters to the original file name. Now I'll reverse Change Pitches A. Double click, go to File, functions, reverse. Click and drag to get rid of the track and file area and press play.
Change pitch.
Okay, now I'm going to undo everything and change the pitch non-destructively. I need to re-import the original file. Notice it's now change pitches _1.wave. Change pitches has been transposed down an octave, and so I need to have a new name for my reference file. Going to select change pitches _1 and bring it to track 1. Change pitch. And now I'm going to change the pitch non-destructively. I can add an effect to a track by clicking and holding the Audio Effects menu. And then go down to the Pitch submenu, and I'm going to use the Pitch Shifter Mono. This is where that looper feature comes in handy. I can select the area I want to loop, press play, change pitch, change pitch, change pitch, change pitch, change pitch, change. What happened? I'm not hearing any changes in the sound. What happened? If you look closely, you'll see that I've selected track 3, even though I only have audio in track 1. You need to make sure you're adding your effects to the proper channels. I do this all the time. So, to get rid of the change pitch on track 3, you go to the effects menu, and instead of selecting pitch, you say no plugin. Now I'm going to select track 1 and go through the same process. Click on the audio effects menu, go to the pitch submenu, and select Pitch Shifter Mono. Change pitch, change pitch, change pitch. Now, change pitch. I can adjust settings. Change pitch, change pitch, change pitch. And when I'm happy, I can just close out of this window. Many plugins have extended features if you expand the triangle. Just gives you a little bit more control. Now I close my plugin, I unloop, and I press play. Change pitch. Now I can put change pitches _1 on another track. Change pitch. Change pitch. And it's unaffected. However, if I put change volumes on track 1 and get rid of the browser bin to give myself a little bit more room and press play, change pitch, change volume. Notice the pitch on changes volume has changed. If you want to keep change volume on track 1, but keep its original pitch, you have to use automation. Remember that we have to show and hide automation, and then each track has its own automation button. I can change the volume of change volume by clicking on the menu under automation button, main volume. This is the default. This gives me a line that represents volume on the track. Right now, it's at 0 dB. Which really means 0 decibels relative to full scale. I can click to create a dot, click to create another dot, and drag to create a fade out. Change volume. So how do I fix the pitch on change volume? Any number you can move on an effects panel can be automated. Instead of selecting volume, we're going to go into Smart Controls and select semitones. Create a point before the change volume region. Create another point and drag it down to 0. Change volume. If you notice, it sounds as if there are multiple copies. There's still a slight delay from the pitch shifter. Instead of changing the pitch, we can change the mix. Select Smart Controls, Mix, and follow the same procedure. Right now it's 25% wet. I'll reduce it to 0. I can also change the mix over time in Change Pitches.
Change pitch. Change volume.
Panning works under a similar principle. I'll bring Change Places into track 2. Make sure your automation is on. Under that button is the automation menu. Select Main and Pan. 0 is in the middle. -64 is all the way left, while +63 is all the way right. When you're working with multiple tracks, you might find it useful to mute and solo particular tracks. Right now, I would like to solo track 2. This means only tracks which are soloed will play.
Change place.
I could achieve the same effect by muting channel 1, but if you could imagine that there were a lot more tracks with audio in them, it would be much easier to solo track 2.
Change place.
Now I'm going to show you how to add reverb. I'm going to go to my browser menu, select Change Place. Make sure I've selected the track that I want to affect. Go into the Audio Effects menu, select Reverb, and I enjoy the Platinum Verb. Choose the space that you want to loop.
Place, 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 place.
Play around with your numbers until you're happy with the sound. Then close the window.
Change place, change place, change.
Hit solo to only listen to track 3.
Change place.
Notice that the sound of the reverb continues well past the audio region. Be careful when you're exporting sound or automating because there's no waveform for this reverb tail. You just have to be aware. You can add multiple effects to the same track. I'm now going to add EQ or equalization. Changing your EQ changes your timbre. EQ is so important it has its own button, and there's going to be a whole lecture on it later, but for now, just experiment with dragging the mouse around. I'm going to do a whole lecture on EQ later, but for now, select EQ, Channel EQ. You can click and drag and create multiple kinds of curves while you listen to the sound.
Change timbre, 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 change timbre.
Be very careful when you're pulling curves above the center line because it's very easy to clip when you're using EQ.
Change timbre.
When you're happy, close the window, unclick your looper. Notice now we have reverb and EQ on this channel, and we can automate any quality of those plugins. I can automate the wet-dry mix in Platinum Verb. And I can adjust the high cut frequency in my channel EQ. If you want to see multiple automation curves at once, you expand the triangle. Notice now I have channel EQ on one and reverb on the other. To get rid of an effect, you go over to the FX menu and simply select No Plugin. Notice the automation disappears. Once you're ready to export, you can use the Looper Selection tool to select the area that you want to bounce. Then you go to the File menu, select Bounce, Project or Section, make sure you're in the WAV file format, and click Bounce. Give it a useful name, and you're done. Now you have all the skills to create your second audio assignment in Logic. Try to make something which works on an aesthetic level. You won't be graded on it, but your peers will be asked to give you qualitative comments on the success of your aesthetic vision.